Welcome back, my name is Tomislav, and in this video I'm going to show you how I process logs, freshly fallen logs. Now in this video I want to show you my thought process behind every decision that I do from processing the log. So why I'm taking the slice of the timber in that section of the log instead of this one, and so on, and also how I rough out bowls or boxes and so on. So all of that in this video, but I want to do something a little bit more different, maybe even one of its kind, and I'm going to show you how I store all of that rough out stuff that I'm going to show you in this video, but also I want to show you the time process of that. So I'm going to show you sort of an update video maybe in a week, and we're going to see how the bowls and boxes are behaving and how to prevent major disasters, let's say. And also I would like to give you an update maybe in 2 months and 6 months as well, so just to show you how everything is moving along through the time, let's say, process. So all of that in this video. So first let me show you what I have in terms of logs. Yesterday was a really windy day, so what I've done, apart from the few of the concrete chunks on the tarp here, I also stapled, you can see here, just short staples, but they keep everything nice and tight. So I'll just bring these logs on the inside the workshop, and I'll show you a little bit more in depth what we're going to do. Now the other day I got a really nice phone call from a viewer here in Zagreb, and he took down a few of the trees, and he called me and asked me if I want some. So thank you, Miro. And what I got here, what I've taken is one birch log. It's around 400 mil diameter, you can see, and it's tall, or length is 300 mil, and I have 3 pear logs, lovely, by the look of the end grain, looks really lovely, 1 cherry, and that's what you're going to see in this video, how I process that, and what we're going to get out at the end of the video. Now all of these trees here that I have, so 3 pears, 1 cherry, and this birch here was taken down a few days ago. So if you're going to do this process, so roughing out bowls, boxes, or anything like that, I recommend that you do it in the winter time, because the logs, the trees, have the least amount of moisture in them. So there is scarcity of food for trees and everything, so the trees have a little water as possible in them. It still will be quite wet turning and everything, as you'll see in a few seconds, in a few minutes, but it's much less than it would be, let's say, in summertime. So the first thing I'm going to process is this birch here, and what I like to do from the start is watch what's happening here on the end grain. So what I can spot immediately is split here from the pit here and goes here. Now it would be ideal to take a thin slice of the end grain, and then we can bend it and see if this goes any further, but in my experience this probably is stopping at the moment here. If I wait too long, then this will spread out, even maybe possibly get a few more. So that's on this side. So I want to flip it over. Now on this side, what I can see immediately is the base case scenario, and that is a split that it's in one plane like this. And also have a defect here, probably a knot from a branch, but hopefully doesn't go a lot through or a lot inside. I can't see any remnants of the bark on this side, so I think that should be okay. So that's my split here. Now, ideally you want this same scenario on the other side, because then you would just run your chainsaw through that split and you would have maximum yield on one and the other side. In this case, as you saw, on the other side we have a sort of a Y shape, so I'm going to start from that side. Now usually I don't mark every log, I just do it. That's my sort of approach, but just for the sake of the video and explanation, I want to show you what I'm doing here. So this line here represents the top of that split on the other side. So I just want to get the best possible angle here to have the minimum waste on this side of the log, and that should be around here somewhere. Doesn't have to be exact. So here, so now you can see we have this split going a little bit here, but we also have a thickness of the chainsaw blade, so that should be okay. And like I said, platter blank or plate blank, so we can go, let's see, maybe even 2, because this split here is around 2.5 inches, 60 mil, give or take. So what I'm going to do, use the ruler itself. So like this, it's around 1 inch thick, so give the space for the blade. I marked the on the wrong side, so this is my cut here, and the chainsaw cut will be also on this side. I'm just marking this so you can have a better view what's happening. So just a rough profile so you can see what's happening. So we have one cut here, also mark that. So one cut here, one cut here, and then one cut here. So what I'll be getting is 4 plate blanks, which are roughly 187 inches, 180 mil. This one here is a little bit, yeah, the same almost. So 4 plate, or I can leave them also as a board. You'll see that option as well. So now we have this area here for a bowl, let's say, and also here. But this is, let's see, 6.5 inches, 170 mil deep here. So I have a decision to make if I want to split that maybe in half, or make another maybe platter, or yeah, platter blank, let's say, and then I'll be left, let's say, with around 4 inches deep bowl. It's pretty much similar as on this side here. So I think I'm going to do that. So just use the ruler as a width and add thickness of the chainsaw. Now from this birch log, what I have is 1 platter blank here, 4 plates, dinner plates, or maybe dessert or something like that, and 2 bowl blanks here. So these can be roughly 11 inches diameter. This one is a little bit bigger, 13-inch diameter bowl. We have only around 12 inches of length, so around 12 inches diameter on this side, and here 11. So for this log, what I have planned is make boxes, box blanks, a little bit bigger diameter. So just see where I'll get the most yield out of. So let's see. I think I'll go this way. So the chainsaw cut will be like this, and then I can go to bandsaw to split it like this and like so. And now we have here a nice circles here, a little bit bigger diameter than you could get commercially, let's say. So potentially, like I said, around 4 inches, 100 mil diameter for tea caddies or something like that. So now I stop short from the bottom around maybe inch, 2 inches, so 50 mil give or take, and just to keep the log as a whole, and then I'll make all the vertical cuts here, and then I'll start to slice it off. So And after bandsaw, this is what I have. So 4 of the spindle blanks for future boxes, really lovely stuff. A few around 10 of small bowls or boxes. This I'll left as it is, or leave as it is. Maybe just coat the end grain with thin down white glue, and the rest here is for rough turning and coring also. So 2 of the plates, platter, although I haven't seen this knot here, but nevertheless I'm going to rough turn it and we'll see how that will behave. So I'm going to head on the lathe and just start rough turning, and I'll tune you in once I have maybe 1 or 2 bigger ones to core out to show you, and maybe one of the small one, and I also want to show you how I rough turn boxes. It's running at 871 RPM, 16 mil ball gouge. I actually don't bother with making the cylinder or a nice diameter clean. So first just remove this corner, and I'll deal with the diameter at the last step. You'll see that. So now I'm truing up diameter, only a little bit. So just see, there's still a little bit of bark left here, and yeah, that's a lovely piece of, you can see how it's grain going all over the place. Now I can bring the speed up. It's nice, heavy, dense blank, running at 1100 RPM. And with the spindle gouge, I want to cut nice clean tenon. Okay, so that's outside done. I don't worry about the surface quality or anything like that, or the shape. Is just a rough shape of what I want in the future. I'm bringing the tailstock because a lot of the corners here are missing, so it is at the beginning quite out of balance. Now this blank is slightly smaller than the previous one, so 1000 RPM. Something is whipping here. I still have a bark left here, so I need to bring this tenon down. Get rid of that. So now I'll finish up smaller blanks, and once I'm ready to hollow it out, I'll show you that step as well. So I'll core out this pair, and it will go in a step jaws. Get this shavings a little bit out of the way. Now before I take the brake, I did spray WD-40 a little bit on the lathe bed, but you still can see a little bit of a rust, which is normal when we turn wet timber. Just don't go finish up the day and leave the moisture on the lathe, because the next day it will be much worse condition and much tougher to clean up as well. So clean up the face here with the ball gouge. And I always round over a corner. Whenever I'm making ruffled bolts, I want to round over any sharp corners. Now, in terms of coring system, I did had McNaughton system, and I really loved it. But during the move in the summer when I was building the shop here, I lost it somewhere, and I will get myself a new one with a 30mm tool post. But I do also have a Sorby slicer. This is it, really nice tool. It's a basically big parting tool, and I really like using it. It's a simple way of getting the cone out of the center of the blank. Now this one was really actually hard to find. It was one of the last pieces in a store in Ireland. That's the only place I could find it, and they didn't have their own handle. So I make my own, and I have a little handle here just so I know whether it's vertical or just to give a little bit more support going left or right, but it's not necessary. The tool rest height is a little bit above center line, and the speed at the moment is 1200 RPM. Now with this method you want to have clearance because this is tapered. You can see it's around 4 or 5 mil here, but it already starts to taper quite big to, I think this is 19 mil diameter shaft here, so it's tapered this way a little bit and this way. So I think Richard has a really nice video how he used one of these. I think he has older version which is called Stewart slicer or something like that. So So like I said, you need to make a clearance. And try to aim at the center line of the ball, but maybe, I don't know, around 20 mil above the foot. So let's see. Need to open up slightly. Now this looks thin, but it's thick, maybe quarters of an inch inside the ball. It's already thicker, so okay, that should be it. Let's see. A little persuasion. I can hear the tone if it's dull or dull sound. I don't know how to explain it better. Then I go slightly deeper, but now I know some of you will wonder why I didn't go slightly deeper with sorbet slicer. Now this at the moment, the depth is 20, I would guess 24 mil, 22 mil from the bottom of the foot here. So that's, once I clean this knob here, it will be correct sort of a thickness for drying process, but also I'll have enough thickness on the bottom for once it's dried, so I can chew it up and clean up the inside as well. So that's why I break it off a little bit earlier. Now I could go one more pass a little bit more towards the inside of the core here. That would make this knob slightly smaller and I could break it easier. But again, from the first tap with the hammer, I can tell the sound, how it's projecting and what kind of a sound it is, so I can know if I tap it a few more times, I know it will break out. But of course, if you're not sure, don't just go hammering with your pounding with your hammer, because you will and you can break the ball in half. So now I have quite uneven wall thickness, and usually what I want is around 10% of total diameter, the wall thickness. So if the ball is, I'm just going to talk in inches, if it's 10 inches, then you want to have 1 inch of wall thickness. Now usually I go slightly thinner. Cherry pear likes to warp a little bit more, pear more than cherry, so I would usually leave a little bit more, but there is a trade-off to that. Cherry and pear and plum really likes to crack, and I just like to thin them down a little bit more, so first of all it will dry out a little bit faster in total, but usually it will warp much heavily rather than cracking. So that's my approach on fruit type of trees. Now let's say walnut or ash or something like that, I can leave thicker walls and usually it's fine. So again, I just round over this rim here, and again this will be sort of a thickness, and I can measure this so you know. So you know the exact number. So 215 mil, and the wall thickness is around 18 mil. So give or take around 10 10%, a little bit less than that, but it will be okay for drying process. Now again, I want nice even wall thickness. I don't want any humps or thicker areas. And that's it. That's for this stage, and really lovely sort of veins here on this pair, kind of unique, and the inner core here, which again I can core out to get smaller ball, but I'll see if it's worth it or not. Well, that's pretty much it. So for the first couple of weeks, all of these turned items will go in my wood room where the bandsaw is, and I'm going to place these on the concrete. So concrete is the coolest place. It still evaporates cold, let's say, since it's cold, it's winter in Croatia, but it's not as cold as it should be. So I'm going to place for the couple of weeks close to the ground, and then after that I'm going to move them to a shelf. Now during the first month, what I want to do is just watch out if there is a split developing or something like that, and I'm going to do, like I said, an update video maybe a couple of weeks from now, just to show you what's going on with the bowls, and then maybe a month after, and so on. And if something will happen, then I'm going to again give you an update what I'm going to do about, let's say, a split or a crack. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now it's 10 days into the future, and let me just quickly show you what's happening here. So I did bring these out a little bit, and they were nicely stacked here. So let's go a little bit closer. Now I don't see, at least on these that I've checked, there is no cracks or anything. So that's after 10 days. Now there are, like this one here, where we have bark inclusion, as you can see here, that started to separate a little bit, and I can feel it. And also here on the foot, you can see a little bark inclusion here, and you can see where it cracked. Now I can pour CA glue here, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't expect this to crack all the way, maybe here, but also just to show you here. So for now, all of these are stable. You can only feel a little ridges here as it dries out. And now also this biggest piece, this plate, there is another bark inclusion here, which I can feel a ridge, but not much, and no cracks or anything like that. Now here where the nut is, there could be problems, but I'm going to watch it again over the course of the time and see if anything is happening. So for now, all is good. Let me show you a smaller pear bowl, also without any cracks or anything, and this bigger one. All of these are pear, so let's have a look at one with these nice colors here, spots. Again, on the end grain, there is no cracks. A little bit of tear out from roughing out, but that's normal. And let's see boxes as well. So no cracks. So far so good. And also to show you these smaller ones from Cherry. Again, no cracks that I can see. Everything is nice and solid. So that should, all of these should be okay. So again, these will be like so for another 2 weeks, let's say, and then I'll check them if there is any cracks or anything like that, and if there is none, then they will go on the shelf. Well, somewhere at least. To sum things up in terms of drawing and how to be successful at it, my tips or the rules that I usually follow is to have nice even wall thickness for plates or bowls or boxes. And what I'm always trying to do is to do roughing out stage in the winter when there is the least amount of water in the tree trunk. So that's at least what I'm trying to do. Now, if it's in summer, I might coat the entire bowl, let's say inside and outside, with 2 coats of white glue, which is diluted with around 10% water. So that's at least for the summer, but usually I always try to rough turn stuff in the winter. Then I have the most successful rate. From all the, at this point, roughly 620 balls, give or take. The most I had in terms of cracks and or the baddest timber that I've faced with is plum. I just had to turn it really thin, let's say, or thinner, at least around 1/4 of an inch wall thickness, 6 mil or less, to prevent any cracking. So that's the only bad experience that I had. So I tried ash, oak, walnut, pear, cherry, beech, birch, and hornbeam, and some other stuff as well. So all of those are, I would say, 99% success rate. So at least for me this works. So you might want to try it. Now I don't have much experience in terms of kiln. That you will have to find other sources on YouTube. So I think Worth the Effort has nice videos on that. Glenn Lucas is probably the most famous for his kiln, and I think it's a good source to maybe ask him about kiln drying your bowls or plates. So I hope you'll take something from this video, and maybe it will help you out on your roughing out process. So again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.